Yeah. uh-huh. Yeah. Shit. Grams leaders CC's pounds. Close cash, close call, close encounter, close up, pounds of leaders of grams, get your dosed up, cut this up, post up, and get dosed up. This for them voted like the movement, make the most of. Monday night at 8, I can't wait to set you straight. These opinions and debates for them folk that can't relate. I gotta elevate your mind through these signs of the time. Dishing out that medication for that deaf, dumb, and blind. And I ain't hard to find, you can catch me in them trenches. I do the groundwork and I ain't waiting on no sense. I be touching on them topics politicians fail to mention. And I don't vote for nobody that ain't got good intentions. I'm relentless for my people and I'm here to make a change. I got that true serum hooked directly to your vein. Hey, this is for my people, tune in, catch it close up, close up, close up, a close up, grams of it, tune in, liters of it, close up, pounds of it. Pounds of it, yeah, grams of it, liters up, pounds, get your dosed up, dosed up, dosed up, dosed up,
Dosed up, dosed up. What's happening? It's May 5th out here, y'all. But it's also 8 p.m. I'm Dose. I got Lab, my trusted faithful by my side on
That's
that
right.
night. You know, we just gonna broadcast like we do every Monday.
You're right.
So
It's
you know.
Cinco de Mayo, but hey.
Yeah, exactly. You know. Whatever. I ain't had no tacos and nothing like that today, but
Right.
you know.
You said what you say? The Mexican Lindo was off the chain today.
Hey, yeah, man. Oh boy, I passed that coming through here, man, and I'm like, whoa, okay.
Okay.
I already got the cops set up and everything for everybody though.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was a line damn near around the corner. Just parking lot was full of people. Looked like they had like a little tent set up too. You know.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a house full.
Okay.
That casa was full.
We were gonna go there, but you know how it go.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go, sometimes you don't.
Yep. When I hit you at 7:45 ish, and you were like, "Bet," I said, "Oh, okay." When you taking the night off, you know. But a little weekend recap. First of all, challenge is still going. Yeah, that Super Bowl challenge still going, bro.
Okay.
Worked
Has
out
anybody joined in with you?
Well, you know, it's not even necessarily they joined in for the Super Bowl aspect of it. Because mine is kind of like I'm training like an athlete.
Okay.
So theirs will be more like, hell, I just want to exercise. You motivate me to exercise or work out.
Okay.
Some of them, you know, you don't always have to be no body sculptor to get in this BBG game.
Okay.
Man. You know, you can just want to just stay in shape, man, and maybe try to get your arthritis down a little bit, stop that from flaring.
Okay.
I just want to motivate people to whatever that goal is that they feel like they want to do. To better themselves or maybe get rid of an ailment than to do that.
Oh, okay.
Because I used to kind of have a passion to be like a physical therapist. Went to school for a second, but I had to sit out. Ain't been back. But, you know, I was like, you still can exercise. You ain't got necessarily to be a physical therapist for that. And you still can help people.
Right.
Plus, one of the hospitals that I started at working at, when I would exercise at pretty much this gym, but it was also like a clinic and kind of like a rehab for certain type of patients and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I would see some of the exercise routines and equipment that the physical therapists were using. So, you know, I'm getting like free game and observation right then and there. So I thought that was interesting, but also being personal trainers are interesting too.
Okay.
So, but I'm neither one of them. I could be
but
a
you
personal
just
trainer.
You just want to motivate people to
exactly
get out there, exercise, do a little something more than they normally would be doing.
Yep.
And take it that way, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So
I just wanted to know if somebody hit you up and say, "Hey, I did 4 miles today. What you got on that?"
So actually, my barber said he did a little something like he ran about 2 miles.
Okay.
Did 4. And then he was like, "Whoa!" He had to chill for a second, go back down to 2, but he could work himself back up to 4.
Okay.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, and he told me that actually Saturday.
Okay. Yeah.
And,
you know, you keeping people motivated, but you gotta have some people. I know you probably don't necessarily need it, but you want some people to motivate you too, and be text you and be like, "Hey,
yeah,
I did 10 miles a day. What you got?"
So you know, I got a partner that'll try. Like he actually wants to do something where we pull up at certain parts and just start doing like routines on whatever's out there, plus bring some of our own stuff.
Okay.
And get that as some content.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Then I got some partners in the apartment complex. Like I said, I'm gonna pull up on them at some point in the summer and see what's up with that.
Okay.
For the ones that like to just be running around hooping or throwing a rock every now and then, you know, because I know my partner Artie, his son actually plays basketball, so
okay,
you know,
okay,
we ain't gonna hurt nobody out there, like put them through nothing so strenuous that they get injured. But yeah, you know, just get it in.
You just do what you got. Just do what you can do. I get it. How was your weekend?
Oh yeah, I'm just about to get to that. So it was kind of actually amazing, man. Like I went to my mom's side. It was like a family reunion. And it was my mother's side. And so I just sat back and observed a lot. Like, I mean, I haven't really met them that much because they're from up north. Okay. So, but now they're down. Some of them are down here now. So, okay. But it's just interesting to see different generations in one room. And then hearing each person, because we had to bring like our matriarch. Okay. Like, so my mom brought her mother, which would be my grandma. And then the others brought their mother or something like that, which would be my grandma's sister and stuff like that. So anyway, long story short, they would give a brief like history of you know,
of the family.
Yeah, exactly.
Family tree type deal.
Man, so come to find out, you know, one of my family members played drums with like the OJs.
Oh, really?
And then another and Kool in the Gang. Okay. So wow, like some played tambourine, guitar. Okay. You know,
so it was musical. Your family was musical anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But see, I didn't know that. And my mom had to tell this story about her mom, which is my grandma. And so like growing up, I noticed that my grandma would always sing to me whenever I was like in New Jersey. I would just hear her always humming and singing around, and it sounded actually pretty good to me. Okay. So anyway, so she told the story. She was like, well, you know, Sarah Vaughan was her best friend. And so they used to sneak out to this club. And so one day my grandma got in a singing contest and she came in second. Okay. So the next time her and Sarah Vaughan went, she convinced Sarah to do it. And Sarah won first place, and boom, there you have it. The start of her career. Yep. Okay. So I was like, wow. And she actually has pictures with her and Sarah Vaughan, which I've seen. So I was like, okay, this is very interesting, you know, like, and another thing that touched me too, to see the elders, and you can see in their eyes how proud and happy they are. Right. To be able to see this moment, to see that moment where, you know, they're passing on the legacy. Yeah. And they see all of the seeds that they helped. You know, so.
And you know what? It is such a blessing to be able to talk to your family member and get the history of certain things and listen to certain things and hear them tell stories. I was lucky enough to my family to be the oldest grandchild. My closest cousin is like 30-something years younger than me. Okay. I'm gonna say 18 years younger than me. I'm sorry. Okay. I was the only grandchild to 18, so I always had the pleasure of knowing my grandmother, my great grandmother, and my great great grandmother. So you know, I would tell, you know, my great great grandmother would always talk stuff, but she was a little bit older and she didn't really like talking to men folks. She said so she only talked to the women folk, but just that rich history of things, you know, you would talk to them about or certain things and they would talk to you about. So it's always a blessing to be able to have a family in the room and get the history of your family and where you came from and what you did down the line. You know what I'm saying?
And it's just like you've lived long enough and you've gone to enough family reunions, you start to see after a while that you're going to be in that seat one day, you know, looking at all of what you helped create. And it just, like I say, I mean, it's a wonderful feeling. Right. You know, everyone enjoyed themselves. It was just music and laughter. And then, you know, I heard the comment like it's best to give someone their flowers, you know what I'm saying, while they can still receive them. You don't always have to get together just to go to a funeral. Right. And so like, yeah, and I think that's awesome, you know, and I kind of suggested maybe we should do this annually or at least every maybe 2-3 years or something, but not every 10-15 years because of something, you know. Right. A lot of things happen, and then not only that, people either will grow apart or so you don't want to be that you don't even recognize them because you waited for so long.
Right, I agree. And you want to be able to pass them stories along
Mm-hmm.
before they disappear. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
and
saying?
fade,
You
or
fade
that people
away.
move so far that you can't necessarily,
Yeah, everybody need a piece of that story. Like everybody need a piece of that that recipe grandma got. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
Just
mm-hmm,
a
mm-hmm.
piece of the family tree, a piece of and then figure out this and that, and then piece them together later on when God forbid grandma passed or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to be able to keep those stories going. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's always
Mm-hmm.
good. I saw the picture.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, and like just to see those smiles on their faces, no matter what they're going through, whether they got to go to rehab the next day or whatever,
Mhm.
all that's put aside for the moment,
Right,
and
right,
everything looks well,
right.
and all is peace.
Yes.
So, the topic that I have today is because a lot of times, even with myself, we may have certain situations or experiences or be in certain positions that we either don't like or we think we want better for ourselves or in certain relationships, and we might always cast judgment or the blame
Hmm.
and certain goals we may want to achieve. And if you self-assess, sometimes maybe, do you ever think like, am I in my own way? Like, are you
Hmm.
in the way of what you want because you haven't realized either what your flaws are or realize that you're actually part of the equation? And I came to some of this because a lot of times I'll listen to people when I used to try to help them or just at least be someone that they confide in,
Hmm.
and I would just see that no matter what happens, it's never their fault.
Okay.
And this ain't even about just a boyfriend girlfriend type of relationship,
Hmm.
nothing like that. It's fired from the job, or I couldn't get this particular job, or car broke down or something, and I know that person doesn't take care of their vehicles. And so at some point, they don't realize that you're still part of an equation,
Hmm.
whether it goes positive or negative.
Hmm.
And if it's negative, if you assume your role in it, then you may either learn something or you will get out your own way.
Okay.
If you don't understand your role, then now other things can start building up to keep you from whatever path or whatever success or whatever relationship that you may want.
Okay.
I know one thing that I used to do and probably still do from time to time, but what I've done is I've narrowed it down to maybe certain things, but procrastinate.
Hmm.
So if I won't procrastinate about a lot of things, but I might procrastinate about maybe the one important thing. But then I'll flip it like I'm not necessarily procrastinating, I'm doing my homework. But
Mm.
when the time comes and I've had enough of waiting on that, I'm gonna execute.
Okay.
Like literally just pull the trigger on that and make it happen.
Hmm.
But there are some people that make a living out of procrastinating
Mm.
or put something off for so long, but when you say you might be on the path of doing something, then they bring that back up,
Hmm.
but they really not doing anything, with it.
Right. Right. So Slick say like the victim syndrome. Is that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. What up, E? I see my partner Eric Saxon tuning in. Yeah, on the 5th. He ain't Cinco de Mayo'd out. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that, man. I can tell you another thing that's definitely an aspect of or like getting in your own way, skepticism.
Mm.
And I know some skeptical people, and I used to be skeptical myself. I'm skeptical about certain things that I can't bet on or I can't necessarily control a lot.
Hmm.
And skepticism isn't bad, but to always be skeptical of something, even when you're sure that you could probably it's gonna go right, but you that I don't like that. Now, if it's a 50-50 shot,
Uh-huh.
then yeah, skepticism it could probably lead to a wise. It's like cautionary.
Mm.
You see, but
Yeah. Do you think people can make you skeptical? Like you may be confident and sure about it at the beginning, but then you tell somebody, they're like, "Man, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's gonna
well,
work. I don't like say your challenge,
uh-huh.
your football, your Super Bowl
Mhm,
challenge.
mhm.
Like, yeah, I'm do the Super Bowl challenge. Somebody said, man, ain't nobody gonna do that with you. Yeah, ain't
Oh,
nobody
okay.
gonna. You get what I'm
So
saying? Like,
yeah,
you
and
sure about it. You know this gonna work.
so here's the thing. What I'm not skeptical about is how it's going to affect me
Right,
and
right.
what I'm looking like and what I'm feeling like and what I'm gonna do.
Mm.
So what happens is, don't do it with me.
Mm-hmm.
Spend that year eating hot wings, watching people play football.
All flats.
And then, wet, or whatever they say, crispy, all that, you know what I'm saying? And drinking or whatever you do, whatever you like to do.
Right.
And I'm going to spend it training, right? So when next Super Bowl roll around and I sit down on the couch next to you and have a hot wing or two, you'll be like, God damn, bro, you can take a snap or two out there on the field.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, you could too if you just did it with me, but you were skeptical. And this is what my skepticism got me. You see what I'm saying? So, but
okay.
Sometimes, you know, but now what you asked me was if someone else is skeptical about it, if they've done it.
Skepticism causes you to be skeptical.
Yeah, like if it's something I haven't done before.
Right. Okay.
And they've done it or they got some experience in it, then I don't really look at it as skepticism. I look at it as you're trying to tell me, you know, if you're just telling me I can't do it, but you can do it or something like that, that's different. But if you're telling me like the pros and the cons of it,
okay,
then yeah, sometimes I like that because I need to know what I'm getting into, you know.
Right.
Before,
but would that cause you to be skeptical and be like, well, I'm not going to do it?
Well, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Because if someone gives me the statistics on something like, let's just say window washing skyscrapers, I'm skeptical as hell of that before I even try it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, someone say like, yeah, man, every so often you might get frostbitten because you up so high or something like that. And so you might fall or something, you know, roll your ankles and all this all the time. Right. Then no, I'm not going to do it. You know, or, you know,
let's say you're not skeptical.
Okay.
We're going to move on from this after this. Let's say you're not skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you're 100% sure about what you're going to do,
mm-hmm.
whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Then somebody comes along, you tell somebody about it because you're so excited about this.
Mm-hmm.
You know this is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And you tell somebody else about it, and they be like, man, no, Marco did that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so get you the pros and cons of why Marco did it and what happened when Marco did it. They give you maybe 2 or 3 more people that did the same thing and tell you why they failed at it or why they might have did it. Then would that draw your mind to be a little skeptical?
Then I say, well, I'm going to try this and I'll be part of your story either way. I'll either be right over there with Marco and them that failed, or I'll be the one that you just say, oh, they tried, but he did it.
Right.
But you're not going to stop me from doing what I want to do. You know what I'm saying?
So, it won't draw, so basically it won't draw any skepticism in your mind.
Nah, I mean, this is something like, because most of the things I want to do ain't going to be nothing harmful for me. You see what I'm saying?
Not even harmful, I mean, you good at rapping. You good at making music. You good at rapping on the beat. Somebody come along and say, man, that rapping thing, MC such and such did that. He been doing it the same way you been doing it for 5 years. He ain't did nothing. He ain't made no money. He just keep going to the studio. Why you keep doing that?
Hey, man, I'd be like, maybe because it's like painting. You ain't always got to sell one long as you can paint.
Okay.
So, you know, sometimes I'm sure basketball player Jordan might shoot hoop every now and then. It's not like he finna suit up for the Bulls.
Right.
So, I mean, if it's a craft and you're a creator, you never stop.
Okay.
Yeah,
so it won't drive that. So that won't make you skeptical either.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah, not that. Now, okay. So sometimes people have been traumatized, and that can definitely make them get in their own way, of maybe not trusting someone or not wanting to do certain things because something happened to them. But it could be a blessing around the corner. But due to the fact that they've been traumatized by someone or some particular experience, they may not necessarily move for that.
Okay.
You know, and that's you being in your own way. It's almost like sometimes you have to face your fears.
Okay.
Or like you can't always have a wall up on everyone, especially if it's someone that's trying to help you or that can, you know, you can benefit from, you can learn from.
But you did say this is somebody who has been through something.
Yeah.
Who may have experienced some bad effects of trusting
Mm-hmm.
someone. So it might be a little bit hard for them to trust anyone after that. And they may have done it several times to where they're like, you know what? I ain't trusting nobody. Now I'm going to expect the bad and hope for the good. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
like some people do that. I'm one of them people.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you break it down, would you say that you would be kind of in your own way from if someone that could, let's say, take you to the next level and you didn't want to trust them so easily? Like, but you see with this, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm kind of the same way. But what I've had to learn to do is like you trust you trust certain levels and certain things like with that certain important. They got to build it. So we got to develop the relationship for me to trust you with that thing first before, you know what I'm saying? I just, not necessarily because I'm traumatized, but I would say that's what a traumatized person should do. Like if you have been, you know what I'm saying, done wrong so many times, that at some point you would still have to understand what right could be.
Right.
Because if you're building a relationship with this person and you ain't never had no issues, everything is communicated to you. They ain't never tried to take nothing from you. They've always offered you an opportunity. They've always been there if you needed them and when you didn't need them. Then at some point, now you begin to be like, all right, man, well, I understand it might have happened 4 times, but at some point, let's say if I don't trust this dude, then I can't make it, make it to the next level.
Right. And I get that, and I understand exactly what you're saying. Sometimes you got to open the door to walk out of it, and I get that. But sometimes you could be one of the people who like to stay in the house and get nervous when they go outside. So it's just one of them things. It's hard to trust people nowadays, especially nowadays. But it's even harder to trust people when you've been through something with people and you've trusted them several times over and over again, only to be disappointed. So I wouldn't call that necessarily something that might be getting in your way. I would just call it a learned experience.
Now, with that, I will say, whatever is your peace, if you've made a peaceful decision that you don't regret not, opening up to people that might be able to help you benefit, then cool, that's you. You see what I'm saying? But some people, say blocking your blessings, and or some people be like, I came in and miss what I never had.
Okay.
So seriously,
yeah.
But I'm a type of person that at some point, I'll assess the situation and move accordingly. But we also spoke about this when we were offline, but some people are like, let's say, depressed and may not even know it, or if you're depressed, it can definitely, you can be in your own way. Just because you may shut down and no one actually knows what is actually going on to even help you, move forward or address your situation or feel happy.
That's true. That's true. Being depressed you can get in your way very badly, being depressed, because you just don't want to be bothered.
Exactly.
You just don't have the energy, the strength, or the motivation to deal with anything or anybody. So it could be that day that you had the guy outside who want to help you with everything. You just don't want to be bothered with them. And it happens. It happens a lot to a lot of people. It just with that depression thing is a medical issue, a mental medical issue that is very hard. People don't understand it. They think it's you weak because you're depressed. But it's one of those things that's just very hard to get over. That climbing that depression wall is a very steep wall to climb.
To fight feelings of depression, like a lot of times I just let go. Like, if you owe something, or if you don't have something, you want something, sometimes you just have to be without it to be at peace. And then, not to say that you won't ever get it, but don't stress over it. You see what I'm saying? Don't go down a hole and combine different types of things that's going wrong and feel like there's nothing going right and there's nothing that you can accomplish or nothing that you can do. But like you said, this is for people I know that don't necessarily have a mental, like, that have to be medicated, you know what I'm saying, from their depression.
Well, a lot of depressions, that's when you get to have to be medicated. You are very, very, very,
that's when you're
clinically depressed.
But
we're talking about just
the
regular depression.
Gotcha.
I mean, you could be right at the cusp of being clinically depressed, but you are depression comes and goes. And depression comes and goes at certain times when you are when you least expect it. I dealt with it and I deal with it a lot. And I could go to bed just to great and motivate and wake up and ruin my own day. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times depression is something that we don't see coming. It just comes. We could be sitting at work. And the boss could be like, you know what? I want to make you the manager, blah, blah. And you just be like, okay. Because you just don't have any feelings. You just don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like.
Yeah. So with that, I say some of the ways that I fight depression is I like to be in control. So I let whatever I can't control sometimes might stress me. But then I look at that as, okay, I don't get depressed about that. I have a hobby that I like to do that I can accomplish. And then that combats the depressed feeling of not being able to control certain situations, and then looking at it like not being where I want to be, then trying to focus on my goal, then want to help this person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All those different things will accomplish something. Do something that you like to do in between all of that. And then you'll know if you're truly depressed if you don't want to even do what you like to do.
If you don't want to, I was just about
See,
to say,
if you don't want to do what you like to do, then get rest.
Yeah,
Sleep,
right.
then something. You see? All right, but
But you can't get in your way being depressed. You could
Yeah.
lose a lot of opportunities with depression. Trust me.
being antisocial, which I got on here, is definitely a way to be in your own way.
Uh-huh.
I had to learn how not to be antisocial. So what I started doing is compartmentalizing some of the things I didn't like about dealing with people in public and realizing, oh, I'm not antisocial. I'm just not necessarily a morning person.
Okay.
All right, now that I feel like I'm not a morning person, let me work on that. How I worked on now, I don't necessarily be grumpy in the morning because I'm truly not a morning person. But what I'm like is, let me see what I can accomplish at work. So now I'm a little bit more keen, and that keenness brings some respect for people around me rather than me being like, man, I ain't no morning person. So now it's more like, hey, yo, what's up? Or hey, yeah, I'm alert because I want to tell you what I'm doing with my job. I like what I'm doing, and I want to get through my day as fast as possible. Exactly. So yeah, I look at it like now it's kind of like an outlet,
Okay.
But yeah, so I didn't look at it like I'm antisocial. I was like, I'm just not a morning person.
Okay. So you just figured out what was it that was causing you not to want to be around people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I used to think, just because maybe I didn't want to speak out in the crowd or something, or just because I wanted to be really laid back, that's being a little bit antisocial. But it's not necessarily being that. It's just me being me. You know what I'm saying? And now I can speak out in front of a crowd. It's just, do I want to or not?
Right.
Do I feel like I want to? Am I prepared or not? Is the environment something I want to address? You see what I'm saying? But it's not like I would be scared to,
Right.
or not like I can't, or not like I don't want to anymore. You see what I'm saying? So I looked at it like I started checking off a lot of things and be like, man, this ain't really just antisocial.
Right.
This just, certain things, like I don't like to be around ignorance. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like people just acting crazy for no particular
reason.
reason. So that's not antisocial. So, but being antisocial, like just not wanting to be around people no matter what, and it could be a joyous occasion, and you're reluctant, and you don't want to even be around that, or you don't want people around you. You don't want to participate at all. You're not necessarily good working with teams, and you have to work with people. That can definitely be in your own way.
Oh yeah,
Because you'll be isolated, and then people might not like you, but that's because they don't even know you. You could actually be a good person, but you just don't want to be around people.
Now I get that. I have that. I don't like being around crowds. I don't like crowds. I hate it with everything.
But you're a
in me.
good
But I
person.
get through it.
Yeah,
I will endure it.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you, yeah.
I just
Now, I don't care to be crowded.
hmm
I don't necessarily care to be around big crowds for no reason.
Okay.
Like I gotta either it's for entertainment purposes or I'm the one that drew the crowd.
Okay.
Other than that, man, no, man, I don't have to be around a lot of people.
Yeah, I'll endure a crowd, but if I don't have to be around a crowd for any reason, I choose not to be.
I like to be around the people that I want to be around.
Right.
I like to give them my attention. Now, all right. So a lot of times trying to figure out whether you're in your own way, you have to decide like where you want to be versus where you're at now. Are there things that you're doing now that's preventing you from where you want to be? So that's kind of why I also came with like, are you in your own way with some of these things? Because some of the previous things I just mentioned can affect where you're and keep you where you're at. And do you even know where you want to be?
Right.
All right. And then, okay, so are you open-minded? Because I used to not necessarily be a closed-minded person, but I had tunnel vision when it was necessary for me to do what I needed to do or the environment that I was in, but now I'm more open-minded because of one, I'm wiser, older, and matured. I gain more compassion for people in certain situations that they're in.
Right.
And now I don't mean being naive with your open-mindedness, like just willing to accept everything. I mean open-minded, like probably willing to change some things about yourself or like I say, acknowledging when you're in your own way. Open-minded meaning like the dude that probably would say, man, I ain't going back to school, would actually be like, you know what, maybe I might take that business management class. Open-minded like that.
Okay.
And you won't necessarily be in your own way. But if you're closed-minded, then, you know, I think you can be in your own way from missing particular opportunities, information, or knowledge that could help you succeed.
Okay, I get that. I get that. Um, you know, that whole crowd thing, that I'm gonna go back to that. You can miss a lot of opportunities in that because if within the crowd, it may be somebody that can elevate what you're doing.
Oh yeah,
you're not doing it because you don't want to be in that crowd. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. But see, the thing is if you start drawing and attracting the crowd, because I've kind of thought about this too, because I'm like you a little bit, like I don't want it all the time. Now, how do you control that crowd? So that's why you hear me talk how I'm talking. If I'm drawing a crowd, but I'm speaking how I'm speaking, hopefully the people in that crowd are kind of like-minded, and I've attracted that. So now maybe we can build, as opposed to a picture me drawing a crowd, but I'm negative. I'm telling people to do things that you really shouldn't be doing. Now I could be affected really by those people. You see what I'm saying? Because we all on that same grimy mentality. So another thing that I have with, if you can, are you in your own way, is, are you willing to change? Because a lot of people aren't with. I see that smile you gave me. Hey man, I'm always willing to change, just depending on certain things. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because man, I've learned now, man, you ain't gonna be able to develop no type of healthy relationship if you're not willing to change certain things.
Compromises. Yeah,
you know, and so yeah, I'm willing to change, but those who are stuck in their own ways and like, man, I can't do nothing different. I don't care. They're gonna have to take it how it is.
Right. This me. This how I grow up. This how I always been.
Yeah. You know, you could be in your own way.
Yeah.
I had to, like they say, there's a time and place for everything. I can't. But be honest with you, I'm almost like 75% able to be me at work. You know, it's a couple of things I can't, but see, I've learned how now to say what I want to say to anyone. I don't care what kind of rank you got.
Right.
And I can make your day. And I can be professional and give you the information you need too. And that's a gift that I got now. Like, because with the new director, like, man, I think she's awesome.
Right.
And it ain't no need for me to be, how can I say, like, have anxiety around her or be scared to speak the truth about the job, because the common goal is to get it done professionally and right. So
right.
I mean, like, I'm trying, that's a change in me. You see what I'm saying? Like, but that's a change in the environment as well. Like, I used to didn't really want to have to deal with no management, man. Like, I kind of just wanted my work to speak for myself, but I'm in a position now where I have to deal with people outside the department, have to pretty much directly report to management. So, I mean, I embraced it.
Yeah.
With a change rather than fight it and not, you know what I'm saying, just do myself in. I probably would have created people that didn't like me, an atmosphere where it's difficult to approach you because you don't want to answer anything. Like, it's like, do you like your job? Do you want to be here?
Right.
And I'm like, nah, it ain't going to be like that. It's like, I'm welcoming.
Okay. You know, that whole compromise and change is a story that Poochie tells on his show, that how when he worked at the garage door repair company, and he was saying all the guys that worked back in the warehouse and the factory, they had been there for 10, 15, 20 years. And then they got a manager came in there, and a younger manager, maybe about, ain't been there long, 10, 20 years, but he been to college, been to school. And he was like, well, why don't y'all go to school, go to college? Man, I ain't doing that. I've been doing this like this for 15 years. This what I know. This what I do. They're not willing to change to move up the ladder. They might have to go to school and learn a couple of things, but they weren't willing there. They felt like my experience here doing this door making should make me be able to move up. And that's not necessarily the case, because you may need to know some accounting to do some certain things. You get what I'm saying? So
now see, with that becomes who you are as character. This is kind of like off topic for a sec, but like, because my manager is younger than me, got more credentials than me, but that don't mean you got more going on than me.
Right.
That doesn't mean
Right.
you work better than me.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're more intelligent than me.
Right.
That means you went somewhere for a certain amount of years, studied a certain thing, and got a degree in that.
Right.
Meanwhile, look at what I'm doing.
Right. I'm
Plenty-
hands on.
Yeah, exactly. Plenty different things. I'm quite sure he can't put together a kitchen
Mm-hmm.
and bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, that's what I've done. You see what I'm saying? Plus look at what I'm doing now. But we're not competing and comparing.
Right.
All I'm saying is that like I can learn from him as well though.
Mm-hmm.
Like just because he's younger than me doesn't mean I wouldn't go to school to get what I need.
Right.
But then he can't look at like that youngster right there shouldn't necessarily look because more experience in like that 15 years of experience, that's good. You know what I'm saying? Like you almost can't buy that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they know things. They probably know certain shortcuts, certain things to do. Know a lot of different things that just getting a degree won't teach you.
That's right.
So, I take it like you learn from both. You learn from the old and you learn from the young. But now with the wise heads that's been there for 15 years, technically listen to what the youngsters say. Because he might can get you an online class where you ain't really got to go nowhere. And it don't take that long. Let's say it's 18 months or less. Next thing you know, you can go up 30 racks a year.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, that's worth it. So, but like another thing, we kind of touched on these things. Well, I just did, but getting in your own way, if you can't work well with others or with a team and you always have to be by yourself, I've already seen how that can stump you. All right, let's say if you do construction work and you want to go high, you need somebody to hold your ladder, but you don't want to work well with nobody. Who's going to hold your ladder for you?
Right.
Or who's going to help you do certain? So right then and there, we don't even need no more examples. But
No, that's a good example. That's a perfect example.
exactly. So, at least be the type of person that can work with one other person. Even if you don't want to work with a whole team of 5 or 6 people, you got to at least be able to work with 1 or 2 people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
When necessary.
When necessary.
Also, if you don't accept accountability, then you're definitely in your own way. Because everybody can't take the blame for everything, and everybody shouldn't always do all of the work.
Right.
No matter who's around you, what relationship you got going on, you around somebody at some point. And if you do something that's not necessarily right, you should definitely be able to take accountability for your actions. That's kind of how I started this when I was telling you, man, like I seen a lot of people that always have issues, but they're never wrong.
They're
never
never
to
their
blame.
fault.
Exactly.
Never their
Never
fault.
their fault. So,
yeah, I get that.
Also one thing definitely we know this can make you be in your own way. Pride.
Oh.
Yeah.
That pride, man. I tell you, I'm a prideful person,
Me too.
and I'm not finna. I don't know. I'm not finna take no crumbs. I'm not finna do no. You know what I'm saying? I'm just
So-
not finna do no bottom feed type crap.
So-
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. My pride just won't let me.
So basically, what that sounds to me like, that's not a problem. Your pride won't let you fail.
Right.
Your pride won't let you settle for less. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
But now, when you have too much pride and you think you're better than certain things, what I mean by that, like I could take out trash at my job because I
Okay,
could take out the
that
trash
ain't-
at my
I ain't
house.
that person. I ain't that person.
See, thank you exactly. or I need to get somewhere, but I got too much pride to walk or ride martyr if I ain't got a car.
Right. Oh, no,
I
ain't that
got
person.
the Uber or you got to pick me up. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Sometimes that pride can stop you from a lot of different things.
Mhm.
There's plenty of people that could probably have employment if they just was willing to ride martyr.
You are 100% correct.
So it's like, is your pride in the way? You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Or it's plenty of people that could have had a wonderful relationship, that relationship that they wanted, but maybe they just had so much pride in one area that they couldn't see that there was a good woman or a
Mm.
good man that they had.
Mhm.
And they needed to stop doing something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That probably wasn't even good for them, but they just felt like you can't tell me.
What to do?
Or I want to do this, and I'm gonna stop when I want to stop.
Mhm.
And next thing you know, they don't even do it no more. But they ain't got that person. So don't let your pride lead to this next thing either. Are you so egotistical? Because your ego sometimes is different from pride, because a lot of times ego can be like a character or a characteristic, or just, you can turn that on and off. Pride is something like a badge of courage from time to time, but the ego trumps the pride to me.
Give me a example of how ego can mess you up, because I'm thinking they both the same.
Ego can be considered like arrogance.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think pride is arrogance, because you just said if you hold your head with pride, like maybe represent your family name, that's not arrogance.
Okay.
Maybe a particular type of flamboyance, or you think you need a privilege when you haven't earned it.
So like if
that ego like that.
Like I say, man, he can't do this like me. He can't do this job like I'm doing this job.
Maybe
try it.
And you've never done it.
And I've never done it.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Or you know damn well you done messed up a couple of times.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? But your ego won't allow you to let him know so he can really learn. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Meaning the ego where you've never failed, but you know you have, but you just don't want to tell nobody because you want to appear like the Almighty, like you could do this and you done no wrong. Don't let that ego make you be in your own way.
Okay.
So
I just need an example, because I was a little scrambled on that for a second.
I got you.
Appreciate it.
I mean, all right, now another thing, and I think we all should have this particular trait. Like, are we able to handle constructive criticism well? Because you are going to be in your own way if you can. Because there could be some times where you've maybe told me maybe what I need to brush up on. If I can't take your constructive criticism, I'm in my own way because what you told me actually benefited me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I can use that, and people have seen it and have told me. And so I'm like, man, credit the lab on it.
Right.
You see?
Right.
But now imagine me, you know what I'm saying, not being able to take whatever you told me. I'm like, man, I'm going to do this my way, man.
Right.
I ain't heard. It went through one ear and out the other, and I don't even appreciate it now. You see what I'm saying? I got like a little chip on my shoulder now. I got it. I'm in my own way, man.
Right. Let me ask you a question, though. Do you think that what I was about to ask you? Damn it. Do you think you could take constructive criticism from somebody who hasn't done what you're doing? Like, let's say you're working at your job and you're doing whatever I don't want to talk about what job you do. Whatever you do at your job, then I come in and say, man, I don't even think you should do it like that. I think you should do it like this. And I've never done the job ever.
Oh, so this is what I'm going to do. If it won't get me in trouble, or if I won't sabotage something, I'm going to say, okay, let me see you do it.
Right.
And
like
then
if I'm sitting back watching, I'm saying, I've been watching you for the last 2 hours, waiting on to go to lunch, and now you taking that over there and bringing that over here. Why don't you just bring that over here and meet at the middle?
I'm going to say, let me see you run it for a second. And then if it makes sense to me, show me one more time so I can get your method, and I appreciate you.
Okay.
But if it doesn't, and then I'll be like, damn, bro, you might want to go ahead and look into this. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm going to be honest with you. You don't have to necessarily know how to do my job to be an organized person.
Okay.
And if wherever you see where you can organize something at and be better, sometimes it makes sense to speak up on that. Okay. But now if you're trying to tell me something like an equation or something, or how to shoot something up and you've never shot it up, or something that I know you have to have credentials for, then I'm going to be a little bit skeptical of you, but I'll be like, show me then. And if you can show me numerous times and it's successful, then, hey, what do I know? You learn something new every day. Okay. Like I said, you got to be open-minded.
Okay.
But now sometimes people say that and they make fools of themselves. And then I'm like, appreciate you for being an example. Now I definitely know not to do it like that. Yeah.
What I don't need to do.
Exactly. It's this. Exactly. Now, all right, this right here can definitely mean you're in your own way. If you show up late, you can be in your own way. You see what I'm saying? Or do you show up on time or early? Showing up on time or early, you're not in your own way.
Right.
But showing up late or not showing up, or no call, no show type stuff, wasting people's time, you're actually wasting your own as well. And you're in your own way.
Now, see, I don't think people take that what you just said to heart. I don't think people really take being on time or being early to something as being in their own way or being late. I don't think they do. I mean, it depends on how the people look at it. I'm gonna give you a good example. We do these podcasts. We have 9 shows, a week, and you'll have guests want to come on the show, and you invite them on the show, and they don't even bother showing up. or they don't even bother calling. We
yeah.
had one a couple of weeks ago that's supposed to be on You How Yet. He begged to be on the show.
Yeah.
The day before, let him, and all that. Never showed up, never called, no nothing.
Now let me show you how he is in his own way. Because if you do that to me, you don't get a second shot.
Right.
Or I might charge you.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
Now you don't even know.
Right.
See, you don't even know how you just did yourself, but you in your own way for me. And see, and you could have just got for the free ski or whatever, you know. But you have to treat certain people accordingly.
I think it's about how they see things, though. Like, he didn't see this as important, or a lot of guests don't see this as an important avenue to what they're doing. But they never, like we say all the time, you never know who's watching these shows. You never know who's tuning in.
Exactly.
We've had guests on here say, "Man, I've been watching y'all for a long time. Been trying to get on this show. My friend been telling me to get on there. All you know."
And not only that, though, this is practice for both of us. If you wanted to motivational speak, if you wanted to speak in front of people, if you wanted to, we're doing radio. But if you wanted to, let's say, do something for like a 94 point something, I mean, this is kind of like we halfway there. All you do is just play some music in between it, and maybe, you know, get another format of, you know, you have this and that segments and all that, but still, like, this the gist of it.
Right.
So, I mean, you know, hey, some people, like, if you don't come, you don't learn something. You don't get that experience. I look at that as being in your own way if you wanted to do this numerous times, because you've already stopped yourself from doing it the first time.
Yeah.
So, hey, now, with that being said, do you give excuses or give solutions? Because giving excuses is getting in your own way. But see, like, now what I'm doing is I'm offering a balance. That's why I said the solutions. If you give solutions, you're not in your own way.
Okay.
That's actually how you stop giving excuses.
Okay.
To me, there's always someone that, if you always have an excuse, not always someone, but if you always have an excuse as to why you haven't accomplished what you want or you can't get what you want, you in your own way. Now, some of those things may be valid, but to give it as an excuse all the time and never give a resolution, you're going to be in your own way. Yeah, it may be the fact that you're unemployed or something that you can't do this, but try getting employed. Tell me that, hey, I put in these applications or something. Hey, go cut somebody's grass real quick to get a little bit of money to actually get yourself something to feel like something or whatever. Give some resolutions before you always keep giving the excuses, because after a while, that may actually lead to some depression, or you're going to be in your own way because you're going to put a speed bump, like an excuse, in front of you rather than a solution, which will lead a path. You might lead a path to the next speed bump, but at least you got over that one because you had a resolution.
Okay.
So don't always, like I say, give the excuses. Do you think you're a lazy person, or do you think you're lazy in some areas? I used to feel like I was lazy in certain areas. But, you know, I had to tighten up that, because when you want to move up levels, you can't necessarily, you have to start lessening the flaws that you have.
Now, some people won't call themselves lazy. I don't think a lot of people will call themselves lazy. Now, I'm a procrastinator about things. It's just, if things don't excite me, I just don't get excited about doing it. Now, if it's something that excites me, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. But I don't necessarily think I don't think a lot of people call themselves lazy about things. I just don't think they do. I know that some are. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that nobody's lazy. I just don't think people think of it that way. They may think of it more procrastination than they do lazy.
Well, rather than lazy, I say, like, less motivated.
There we go.
To do certain things. Like, okay, remember when I said I'll procrastinate about some things, but then I execute on others? Well, sometimes I'm less motivated to do it at the time because either I don't have the money that I want.
Okay.
Or let's say I'm less motivated to post certain exercise videos until I figure like I want to bump up a certain weight.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Something like that. So that'll be my goal to motivate to do it. But that's not necessarily the procrastinating. I'm just less motivated right now until it kick in, or until I've done enough to be like, okay, now it's that time.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. But there are some people that will be just lazy, meaning like, I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like doing it. And that, and you do something. You're not doing anything energetic or anything. You know what I'm saying? Motivational for yourself. You just don't want to do it. That's just how you are.
Right.
And I know some people like that, and most of the time they be just at the house all the time. So I mean,
Right,
hey,
right,
you need. I
right.
mean, get up and get out and get that fresh air.
Uh-huh.
But okay, now you can definitely be in your own way if you don't communicate your needs and your wants and some of your expectations well.
Mm.
Like especially if you're in a relationship,
Okay.
and nobody knows how you feel or what you want. Like nobody's a mind reader.
That's true.
So
That's
you
true.
definitely gonna be in your own way if you feel in a certain way and you don't communicate it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, now can you follow instructions and possibly orders? Because if you can't, you definitely in your own way. It's a
Mm.
lot of things that you got to do where you just have to follow some instructions.
Right,
If
right.
you don't, you get penalized or if things don't necessarily go your way.
Mm-hmm.
For those that always like to try to make their own rules, they definitely be in their own way because they always got to do something over
Mm.
or never can finish it
Right.
or getting sidetracked. You
Uh-huh.
know what I'm saying? Sometimes being detained, depending on if you're breaking the law with it. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, like a lot of times when you don't, like I say, follow instructions, you do it wrong and you have to do it twice, or it breaks,
Oh.
or it doesn't work properly. You
That's
done
the
rigged
problem,
it.
right?
You know
That's
what
the
that
problem,
means.
right?
Hey, so and that's definitely getting in your own way. A lot of
Okay.
times people ain't gonna want to use it because they're gonna be like, "Hey, man,
Last time I tried this,
mm-hmm,
I get it.
mm-hmm."
I get it.
And so, now some of this, like I say, do you complete your task in a timely manner? Maybe certain things that are important because you could definitely be in your own way if you have to work
Mm-hmm.
and you get paid to work and you don't complete them in the timely manner that you should. After a while, you may be unemployed.
Right.
So that's definitely getting in your own way. You getting in your own financial way. You getting in the own way of progressing at your job
Mm-hmm.
because maybe you take too long of a lunch break or you don't think that what you do is important. I mean, a lot of times I look at it like some people, they know they don't want to do that for their particular career
Right.
or they're juggling school and other things. So they care less about these tasks.
Mm.
But you still, believe it or not, are getting in your own way because you don't want to take that mentality to the next thing that you do just because you can get away with it here.
Mm-hmm.
And you think once you get your degree and you get to where you want to be, you might still try to take a lackadaisical attitude, like try these people
Right.
because you tried someone before.
Mm.
When if you give it your best at all levels, guess what you're gonna do when you get to that next level? You already trained yourself to give it the best. You didn't train yourself to try nobody
Mm-hmm.
and cut corners and to look for the shortcut.
Right. Right. I get it. I get
So
it.
also, hey, yeah, like do you adapt well to adversity? And especially when things don't go your way.
Now that part right there, I think a lot of people have a very hard time adapting. You
Mm-hmm.
know, even like you said, you have new management,
Mm-hmm.
a new supervisor, or a new just a whole new company you may be
Mm-hmm.
working for,
Mm-hmm.
and you've been doing things like we said earlier a certain way, and
Mm-hmm.
they've changed that whole rotation around, they changed that whole rhythm around,
Mm-hmm.
and you having
Mm-hmm.
to figure out how to adapt to that.
Oh yeah.
Adapting is some people just can't adapt.
Nah, and it's funny that you said that because I've seen people get phased out when
Mm-hmm.
certain companies come in, and you either have to have certain credentials or go get some CEs, some
Mm-hmm.
continuing education credits, or you got to make sure that license is up to date.
Right.
And they didn't have it, and they didn't have enough time, or they were just so old that they were grandfathered in and felt like you said, I don't need to do that.
Right.
And next thing you know, you don't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yeah, I can see people now they're getting ready to have to adapt to a little bit of adversity because now your time is being watched.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to make sure you do your competencies.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to do different apps and programs now to verify what you've done.
Right.
And
Right.
I gotta even adapt to that. I had to adapt to the job that I got because it was a whole different department
Mm-hmm.
and different mentality. But now with management and outside sources coming in and based off what they feel like we should be doing,
Right.
not what we were doing. What's up, Slick? I see she just looking at she on my mind now. But yeah, based off what they want and what
Right.
they expect, I
Right.
gotta do it. But it's all gravy because I mean I'm a professional.
Right.
I'm here to do my job. If you take over and you want this job done this way and I'm getting paid, I'm gonna do the job the way you want it.
Right.
As long as you train me the proper way, I'm
Mhm.
competent enough to do work with the
What you
materials and the apps
requesting.
and the programs you gave me. Yeah.
I always wonder why is it so hard for people to adapt when it comes to their job. Now I do have some difficulty sometimes adapting especially when somebody's trying to tell me how to do something,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that's just not the correct way to do it. I know if I do it this way, it's going to mess us all up. You get what I'm saying? And I'm trying to adapt to your supervision. And you being a new manager, being new, but I know if I press that red button,
Okay.
you keep telling me to press the red button, and I'm saying to myself, the red button's been told to us for the last 10 years that if you press the red button, everything's gonna blow up.
So,
and you keep telling me to press the red button.
So with that, I use ethics.
Uh-huh.
Then I use terminology that they can understand, like liability.
Okay.
Seriously.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? Neglect or something similar, like terms that you know. Okay, that's probably it's classified somewhere in our rules.
Right. Right.
And if you show that you know certain ethical things, then they're gonna have to respect what you say first.
Right.
And then I'm like, okay, well, how about we show you this way? Because if we do it this way, it's going to be catastrophic. I've been here and I know this particular equipment. Now, when you add your program to it, maybe it might do something different.
Right.
But I'm telling you right now, if let's just say if engineering has not cut the power to this door, if you open it, it's going to be an alarm.
Right.
Now, okay, other than that, what I'm going to do is, can you please open that for me, ma'am? And when you open it, you did it.
It's on you.
Yep. That's all I'm going to say. Can you please push that button for me?
Okay.
Because I need to see what it does.
Right.
When you push it, because I know what happens when I push it.
They've been saying 10 years not to push it.
Yeah. So I like to see you push it then, so you can show me that your program works.
Right.
And then after that, it's up. Whatever, goes on.
Okay.
All right. So that was pretty much what we were talking about, the handling and adversity. Now, do we worry a lot or do we panic in situations? Because worrying and panicking definitely makes you get in your own way. I know that. Like, you can my bad, man. Slick just says you just can't tell some people shit. And she's right about that. Yeah, exactly. No matter what you say, they gonna make you try to do that shit the wrong way. I'm with you, Slick.
Right.
But like me and Lab said, when it get like that, Slick, you make them do it then. You walk the plank then, you know what I'm saying? You show me it ain't no piranha in that water.
That's true.
Before I go in there. And then I'll follow you. After you make it out one time, then maybe I will. Or show me the way you did it.
Okay.
But yeah, like we were saying, worrying and panicking. I think worrying.
Do you put them together though?
No.
Okay, because you can worry and not panic.
Exactly.
You can
I was
panic
gonna
and
say.
not even having to worry about
exactly.
it. Okay.
Like panicking is a situation where you didn't even know about it to worry sometimes.
Okay.
Or panic, like a lot of time. Well, and I'm not necessarily talking about panic in. These aren't life and unalive situations.
Right.
I'm talking about like just situations where things aren't going your way. A situation where you maybe wanted something to go some way and now you're panicking because it didn't, or you're throwing a fit, or you want to argue, or you're tantruming or something, or you're going to sabotage something to make it go wrong.
Right.
Because you just don't know how to address the situation or deal with it.
Okay.
Worrying, you can definitely get in your own way. If you're thinking about it all the time, you're going to sleep about it. You don't even want to watch TV. You just don't even hardly want to eat. You're just worrying about it. And it's like a situation is going to happen. I give you like, okay, you got to go to court.
Okay.
Worrying about it ain't going to make it be no. Get prepared.
Right.
And then just relax, man.
Right.
It's the day going to come and you're going to have to answer for what happened.
Right.
But worrying about it isn't going to make the outcome change. It's not going to make the days go by faster or anything. So, yeah. So worrying can actually, like I say, just get in your own way. It can get in your own way of, like we say, trying to find these resolutions and solutions. You know, if you spend your time worrying about something, then that's less time you're spending trying to solve or trying to get over what you're worrying about.
Okay.
All right. So now, do you blame others for your shortcomings? Because that's definitely, to me, getting in your own way.
You think so?
Hell yeah.
I'm blaming everybody. I know it's not me.
But it's your shortcoming.
Nah, it's my shortcoming because somebody shorted me on it.
Yeah. But see, if it's multiple shortcomings that you have because you can't recognize your own flaws, you're in your own way.
Right.
Or if this shortcoming happens consistently, then it's probably your fault.
It's probably me. Huh?
Yeah, you can't blame it on someone else. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like that. Damn, if everywhere you go you smell like collard greens, then it might be you. I know you know where I got that from too. So I got that from Martin. Okay. But you know, a Martin episode. But yeah, so it's like you gotta understand sometimes. You know, like I call it maybe like addressing the elephant in the room. If you're to blame, but you always blame everybody else for what you can't do and your shortcomings.
Right.
Don't be that type of person because you're in your own way. All right. And oh wow, this kind of goes a little bit with that. Like, but this isn't that, but it goes with it. Okay, do you transfer your problems or your bad negative energy on others? Like some people can come in the room and just start it off negative. You're in your own way when you do that. If you trying to transfer the negative energy, the bad vibe, like if something happened to you on the way to work, or you're bringing that to work, or something happened to you on the way, me on the way to the podcast, and instead of me being my usual, what's up, lab? I'm like, you know, I'm in my own way. You probably could have had some good shit to tell me or to do, or we could be like vibing on another level, but I just ruined your vibe. Right. Now you like whatever. Now you know what I'm saying. Right. Let's get through this shit. Yeah. See, you see what I'm saying? So like I never want to be that person like transfer negatively. Definitely but like
sometimes it don't be on purpose though.
Yeah, it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't.
You could be just so engrossed in what happened, it could be bothering you so badly, and you trying to figure out why. And when I say "What's up," you may not even your mind may be so focused on that issue that you may not even notice that you say "What up." You know what I'm saying? You just, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to figure out why this happened. And once you get to the podcast and sit down, things may change. But as you walk in the door, you're like, "Damn, I can't believe." I'm gonna give you a good example. And you didn't act different. But when you hit that dog, you were just so concentrated on that dog, you couldn't get.
Yeah, I was pissed off for a second, man. But check it out now. All right, so now with that, you made me jump to my numbers, my 32, right quick, because what we're describing is, do you know when you need help? Because I probably needed a little bit of help with that. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes, and that's like you say, you can't always I can't look at somebody's problem as negative. Because they could possibly need help. And they're not necessarily transferring their energy to me.
They're trying to figure it out.
But there are some people, like I say, if you see them consistently and they got that vibe with them, it's like, look, man, you transferring your energy and your problems on every time you see them, they got a problem.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it ain't even about whether you can solve it. It's just always a problem with them going on. I don't necessarily like those kind of people. I'm like, man, you in your own way.
Right.
You got a problem after a problem after a problem after a problem after a problem.
You're never
it's
happy.
you.
Right.
You're problematic, as they say. A problematic at that. All right, now, oh yeah, like so. This is something too. Are you proactive or reactive? Because sometimes being reactive is being in your own way. Because that means it already happened and now you got to react.
I think most people are reactive.
Well, it depends on.
I don't think people think too far ahead. They like.
You're right. You're right. I'm
gonna wait for the problem and I'm gonna fix it. Like they don't think about, well, if I do this, if I do A, then B gonna happen and C gonna happen. I need to figure out B and C. You get what I'm saying? They don't do that. We just I'm guilty of that in some aspects of things.
See now, okay. I'm gonna give you an idea. I'm gonna tell you how you flip the perspective, so that you can understand the kind of importance of like the proactive mindset.
Okay.
Think of being proactive as offense.
Okay.
And like reacting as defense.
Okay.
So if you're on offense a lot, but you actually have thought your process, more than likely you'll be prepared. The reacting all the time, sometimes you're not necessarily prepared because you got to react to something that's happening. If you're proactive, you really try to stop it from happening. So it's almost like, cut that fire off rather than maybe be reactive when the fire starts. But you're proactive, like meaning, let's say you wet the ground around your grill, rather than you just leaving it dry maybe, and then you be like, I'm just gonna react with the hose and go get the hose. Or reacting maybe like you didn't cut the hose on and just leave it to the side. You got to go cut it on, roll it out, and pull it out. You're reacting properly now, but a proactive person probably would have the hose right there, maybe running, and then you just cut the nozzle on.
Ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go.
Some people get joy in their life to know things are messed up in it. In yours.
Yeah.
So people get joy in their life to know that things are messed up in your life.
they're in both of y'all. They're in your way and their way now.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, like, and she put Misery Loves Company on mine, and I
Mhm.
definitely understand that, which is why one of us gonna distance ourselves. I'm gonna distance myself from the miserable person because I can recognize it and acknowledge it.
Right.
Okay, now this is definitely can be in your own way from time to time. Like, do you hold grudges? Because if you hold the grudge, or do you, if you let the person know your feelings and intent,
Right.
then you're not holding the grudge, and you're not even in your own way.
You don't think so?
No, because you could do it in a way that's tactful. You don't always. You could disagree with someone without being volatile.
Okay.
You can not feel a certain, like, not like what a person did and let them know. But see, when you don't let them know and you hold the grudge is when you're in your own way. It's affecting you more.
But see, I'm the type of person, I'm gonna let you know, and I'm gonna still hold that grudge.
Well,
I'm gonna still be until I don't. Until Jesus come down, sit on the couch, and say, "Hey, let that go."
Here's the thing: you're not in your own way because you offset your grudge.
Okay.
Because you let that person know. So now you have a grudge, and they know you have it. So you're not in your own way.
Okay.
Because they know. Because remember, I said,
I'm not
do
gonna
you
let
let
it go
that?
that
Listen,
easy.
hey, look, lad. Remember when I said going into this, or do you let that person know your feelings or intent?
Okay.
So if you had a grudge for somebody, but you let them know, now they just know you don't really. Do you not like them now or something, or do you just don't like what they did?
Hey, that was some fuck shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but see, now you're not even grudgeful in it anymore because anytime you see them, you can let them know.
Right.
But see, holding a grudge sometimes the person don't even know you got it. That's how I be thinking. Like a lot of times, don't the person got to ask, man, why you got that chip on your shoulder?
Why you so mad at me?
Yeah,
Right.
because you don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't let nobody know.
Okay.
But when you let them know, I'm like, oh boy, he had a problem and he let me know.
Right.
Now it's like, are we done? You know what I'm saying? Have you resolved
Not
it?
yet.
And now I'm like, well, what you want to do to me then, laugh down?
I gotta let this go when I let it go.
All right, but the thing is, you
I get
let
what
me
you're
know,
saying.
and you ain't volatile towards me.
Right,
so now
right.
I got to give you your space to get over it.
I can still talk to you. I can still
Yeah,
holler at you,
all
I
right,
can
all right.
still fuck
So now
with
you don't.
But
Okay.
You know, I know you. You know, I know.
So look, what you just did is now you making it so that person is suffering because they missing that you missing out on a good friend,
Right.
A good person, a person that could be there. Like you always need them.
Right.
That's damn worse than a gut punch. You can get over a gut punch, man.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But when you gone, like, bruh, now it's like, damn, I used to lean on Lab.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And my
he could
distance
the same
is, my
way.
distance
Yeah,
is
I got you. Okay. Now this is definitely being in your own way. Do you give up easily? But I got the resolution for that. Rising to the occasion and the challenge.
Okay.
But now, if you give up easily, you definitely in your own way.
What would be considered easily? How long do you work on something or do something until you give up on it because you see it's not working and it's still not considered
when you think
giving up easily?
When you thought that when you consider yourself a failure at it, like when it's not, when you don't have the drive to do it anymore, but you've done it enough and you've had drive in it.
Okay.
Then you have to understand. It's almost like trying to light fire to something that's wet. At some point, you got to give up, or at least you got to let it. You got to let it run its course to dry. You can't. I mean, I ain't seen nothing wet be on fire. Really.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying. Unless it's gasoline or something. You know what I'm saying. So with that being said, but easily, man, you know when somebody ain't tried.
Right.
You know when they ain't put the effort in. You
Right.
know, like it'd be people. Man, I can't do that, man. You ain't even try, you know.
Right.
Oh man, that look hard.
Right.
It probably is, but
Right.
try. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Because most of the things that are hard for you are good for you or
Yeah.
better for you.
Like you
Or
could easily said that when you were working out.
Yeah,
I ain't finna
clearly.
push that down.
I ain't finna flip that. I ain't finna flip that tire, bro. No. And I thought that, man, when I tried it. Then I was like, man, let me go ahead and if instead of saying I can't, let me say I can.
Slick says Lab is petty as fuck and he holds grudges. I do. I'm 100%. I'm all that.
But for a person that know you ain't holding a grudge towards her.
Right.
She know.
Right.
But now, to me, I just think a grudge is unknown.
Unknown. Okay.
Yeah.
And
But now, I mean, I can understand still having resentment or not liking what someone has done and not necessarily wanting to be around that person, even though you've told them.
Right.
I mean, that's to be respected. Like
Right.
it's got to run its course.
Slick says, is there an age limit on certain things on your list, like certain aspects of the list? Would there be age limits on that?
No. I just think it's physical limits. Meaning like you can't physically do certain things because and that's when because think about it, you're not in your own way if you physically can't do a particular thing. You can't do that shit. So sometimes age will make it so that you physically can't do something, but also some people at an age where they can do miraculous things, you be thinking like they can't run that race and they 90 something running it. So I just think let the limitations be something that you either mentally just can't get over or physically. Yeah. And when I mean mentally, I don't mean like you have to have therapy for it. I just mean like you just don't convince yourself that you want to do it, and you have every right not to want to do it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing mentally wrong with you that you don't want to, let's say, bungee jump or something like that.
Right. Okay.
But another thing of like that can be getting in your own way is like, I think if you don't have kind of like the same amount of respect, at least for yourself or other people's belongings as you do for your own, and you're getting in your own way, like that's can't just go take somebody's car or something and key it, but you wouldn't want them doing yours.
Or like say you let me use your car,
and
then I drive that thing like
yeah.
When I bring it back, it's empty. The tires I messed up because I don't hit the curves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's like getting in your own way because you're never going to be able to use it again.
That's right.
You're going to lose a friend. So like, and it's why would you do somebody's property like that?
Exactly.
And if you don't do your own stuff like that, then meaning like you're not getting in the way of your own, like messing up your own stuff and causing more problems and more expenses for yourself, which will be getting in your way. So why would you do that for someone else?
Right.
And that's where, okay, like I said, the health issues or ailments, that's not you getting in your own way, but you can do what you can now to try to prevent that. Right. You know what I'm saying? If you know that there are certain things that you could be doing and you have a particular ailment, but you're not doing it and your ailment is getting worse, now you're getting in your way. Like I always recommend, you know what I'm saying, do what the professionals say, do what the doctors say. You do need exercise, try to eat healthy, get some water, definitely get some rest. Like, don't necessarily neglect yourself if you already have something going on because you're getting in your own way with that.
The rest thing, a lot of people don't realize that not resting can get in your way. You know that?
Yeah.
Not resting can get in your way. I don't think people realize that. Sleeping, resting your body, your mind, all that, you can get in your way if you don't do that.
Let me tell you how I got in the way of my own progress with this Super Bowl challenge and this working out.
Okay.
You can't do 7 days straight. Give your body time. We call it recovery time. And don't panic and worry if you take 3 days off. Just don't take 3 weeks off. Don't take 3 months off. Don't take 6 days off. If you have to take 6 days off, hit it hard, but make it a lifestyle and don't stop.
Right.
But I had to understand I need recovery time. And not to be all stressed out about it no more. I don't care no more. Like I already know the results are coming. I know I'm gonna get them because I know what to do now, and I'm gonna keep doing it as a lifestyle. But I was in my own way for a long time with my diet, with the no rest.
Right.
I was in my own way a long time with my ego, thinking just lifting heavy is doing it. I was in my own way with stressing over it. Like I gotta do it. I was in my own way with always looking looking at myself like it's like looking at myself gonna
in
make
the mirror,
difference.
like I ain't lost
and
then
yeah,
my muscles ain't tightened up yet, and it's not. They don't. Work that quick.
Oh, and then sometimes I would procrastinate. I'm gonna put this off to this time. I would have the gym membership, be paying the money and not going. So it's a lot of the things on this list. Like I said, I was in my own way, and it applies to me too. And once I just open my mind towards like doing it the way that it should be done, and just relaxing and having fun with it,
right?
Because I'm having fun with it now. Now I adapted to the adversity as well because this is difficult. But hey, man, I'm convincing myself and motivating myself every day. And now, like I say, once about that year's up, it's gonna be like clockwork, easy to do. Are you organized? Because there were times when I wasn't organized with certain things, and that's definitely getting in your own way. And I'm talking about like even let's say if I want to do these skits, if I'm not organized with it, I'm gonna be in my own way because it's gonna show when it's time to get behind that camera. If I don't have my scripts written and ready and gave them to my people, I might now that I'm learning maybe to start rehearsing a little bit,
right?
If we have time, like Zoom it, or just tell people, hey man, go over this, go over this. But with the way that I've been doing things, I put it like this: being organized can help you do it on the fly.
Okay.
Can help you improv too.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, if you got all your props, you got where you want to be, you have that organized, you got your time, you got your camera guy, whatever, you got your script, that's organized. If you forget something, or if you feel like you need more time because that script that I wrote wasn't long enough, hey, I was organized to the point where I did get enough off. Now I can improvise the rest. But coming with no organization, and now it's going to take much longer, and I'm in my own way. Okay. And then that may piss other people off, because I've been in the situation where I had to take a stance on something and put my foot down because it wasn't organized, and people were seeing that, and we were wasting people's time. And it wasn't me that set it up. Okay. So yeah, being an organized person can help you. Being unorganized, you're gonna be in your way a little bit. What's definitely up, TJ Fuller? I see he tuned in and watching. All right, and are you good with your finances? You know, you definitely gonna be in your own way if you're a gambling person, and you just.
I'm not a good budget or finance person. I don't do bills well because I dealt with them at work, significant bills and management and accounting stuff. But you know who's very good at bills? Who? Very good at organizing.
Slick.
Very good. Like,
I'm quite sure.
Organized on them bills. Like, she know what she spends down to the half cent.
So it's like, man.
And I just swipe the card.
I have to be organized because I created the debt. Okay. And like, oh man, I'm telling you, boy, you don't need no more garnishments going on, man. Now I ain't trying to file no Chapter 13s and none of that shit. Right. So, so once you create, because I'm trying to create this debt to create credit, good credit. You see what I'm saying? To create a good business standard. So, but I had to force myself with that. You see what I'm saying? Because technically I didn't really want to be good with it because I don't want to have debt and I don't want to have bills. Right. Unless it's bills, you know what I'm saying, to keep things going. Not actually create the bills so that I could get the good credit. But I'm getting better with my finances. One thing that's making it better is making more money. Right. So that's really what I'm trying to do to get good with my finances. But you're gonna be in your own way financially if you're bad with them, bad budgeting. If you want to do something and you don't want to invest in yourself, you're in your own way, because who gonna invest in you if you don't want to invest in yourself? So I mean that as well with your finances. If you blow your finances and you put fun first rather than responsibilities and bills, that's kind of bad, because you're gonna come up short. And you put yourself in your own way, man. Now you're gonna owe more, or you're gonna have them late fees. Yeah. And you're gonna have creditors calling you and things like that.
Sometimes it's just so fun to do fun first.
It is, but no, you pay yourself first, and then you pay your responsibilities. Right. And then what you do, you might have fun money left over. Right. But by paying yourself first, that's gonna guarantee you some fun money later on. Just let it stack up. Right. And then we trying to get different residuals. You know what I'm saying? So have more than one way going. If you know you bad at your finances, so you won't be in your own way.
Most definitely.
Yeah, we getting a little close. So I got two more anyway, but we already kind of went over that. Like, do you know when you need help, and do you know when to ask for help? A lot of times, us definitely being me. And what up, Furious? I see you just checked in. You always on point. Cinco de Mayo, not this my old faithful right here. Okay. But yeah, as men, a lot of times we don't want help or ask for help. Or do we know when we need it? And it's a time when you need to know to ask for help, because if you don't ask for it, you definitely in your own way. Because a lot of times, man, you got a compadre like my partner D Hill. If I need something here swooping in after rehearsal, I feel you, boy. You always got to roll in something. And you're going to be rehearsing with me. So when we just talked about rehearsal, didn't we, lad?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. But as I was saying, like, if you got a homie like D Hill or something like that, a tried and true partner, you know when to ask for help. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes when you in your own way, or if you feel like you got that pride and don't know who and when and if you need it, then you miss out. You know what I'm saying? You really could have gotten over that hump. but you just didn't know who and how to ask. So
I'm gonna give you one more before we go.
Mm-hmm.
Not being a good communicator, you get in your way.
You're absolutely right.
Because that rounds up everything on that list, I think.
Yeah, it does, because you got to be able to communicate. If you if you're not a good communicator, you're definitely antisocial. You're right. It applies to all of it. You know what I'm saying? Even the worrying.
Right.
You don't know. You communicating wrong and worrying, panicking. You don't know how to communicate when you panic, man. Then definitely something go off the hinges with you. So, the topic, man, for those that just tuned in was, are you in your own way? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes for either, basically, you can't always cast the blame for every particular situation that goes wrong with you. Provide some resolutions rather than excuses. That's just pretty much what we were talking about, man, and some of the things that lead to you being in your own way. So, if you came in towards the end of it, just catch it on the YouTube or rewind this thing, man. We dropping gems on you, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in on this Cinco de Mayo, I guess this holiday for some of y'all. You know what I'm saying? I guess y'all got lit. And we will be back next Monday. So peace out. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Grams leaders CCs. Close gaps, close call, close encounter, close up, pounds of leaders of grams, get your dosed up, cut this up, host up, and get dosed up. This for them voted like the movement, make the most of. Monday night at 8, I can't wait to set you straight. These opinions and debates, for them folk they can't relate. I gotta elevate your mind through these signs of the time. Dishing out that medication for the deaf, dumb and blind. And I ain't hard to find, you can catch me in them trenches. I do the groundwork and I ain't waiting on no sense. I be touching on them topics politicians feel to mention. And I don't vote for nobody that ain't got good intentions. I'm relentless for my people and I'm here to make a change. I got that true serum hooked directly through your veins. Hey, this is for my people, tune in, catch it close up. Close up, close up, a close up, grams of it. Tune in, liters of it, close up, pounds of it. Pounds of it, yeah, grams of it, liters up, pounds, get your dosed up, dosed up. Dosed up, 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 dosed up.